Yes,
Right.
yes. And some points don't need to be complex. They can be
No,
like three
I got
things.
that. I remember the lecture from November.
Yes.
The three things.
Three things.
Boiled down.
Yes, exactly.
That was the message.
Do you want to join the Zoom and then I can?
Sure. Yeah, yep, just a sec.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, I'm trying to remember if it works.
Shut that door. Oh, thanks. Might have a couple stragglers there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Recording in progress.
Hey, 7:01 p.m. We'll call order the Parks and Recreation Advisory meeting for the first meeting of the year. Cool. Do a roll call first. Just, okay. Brad. Here. Lindsay.
Here.
Anything? Great. Sadia.
Here, hello.
Hi. Grace.
Here.
Burton. Here. Martha.
Here.
Justin.
Here.
Robert's here. And miss anybody? Tim. Not here. He'll be here. Yes. And then I want to recognize, not trustee anymore, town council member Miller. Yes, thank you for joining us. We have Brian. And I need to say anybody else is here. You're good.
Leslie's
Leslie's here. Okay, great. Okay. All right. Right. Item 2B, approve the agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to add or change about tonight's agenda? Okay, hearing nothing, we'll consider it approved. Public comment. We have no public folks in the room. Is there anybody online? No. Okay, no public comment. All right, we'll get right down to it then. 3A, finalized park work plan for 2025. Do you have that, Brian, handy?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So is this officially approved now?
Yeah, I think, it was approved this past.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So this is the work plan. I don't think we need to necessarily do anything then, other than just, it's there. I believe it's accessible on the, Dropbox.
Yeah, I'll throw it in the Dropbox, but
Okay.
on the park webpage, it's linked on there as well.
Okay, but obviously if anybody has any, thing they want to add or change about this, we can do that on a meeting by meeting basis. But this is our basic scaffold for the year. And we'll work from that. Do you have any questions about that? All right, great.
Very efficient.
Very efficient. This might be a short, but we'll see.
I won't chase that. Exactly. We won't need the whole time for this meeting.
Might be. Yeah, that's famous last words. 3B, establish park discretionary budget uses plan for the year. So just as a reminder, we have $5,000 from town to use every year. Typically, we use this in a number of different ways, either paying for swag, things to hand out at events. Last year we used it for, hats and some other stuff that Brian has actually for us, so we can grab that at some point. We use it to typically to send somebody to the, what is the name of that conference?
Colorado Parks and Rec Association.
Thank you. Typically we send somebody to that conference. And then any other things we want to sponsor or otherwise use money for, we can. So does anybody have anything they want to right off the bat potentially use that money for this year?
Depending on how many events we do, we will need to order new giveaway items. So yeah, we ended up, if you took the stuff out that was for the committee and the board and such, we'll probably just flag like another 2K out of that off the top, just to make sure we can re-up some of those things if they go fast and we know what people like after the first couple of them.
I think when we discussed this a while back, we were saying that we might want to go more towards items that are maybe a little less throwaway, a little more durable, not giving out as many of them, but maybe making them prizes or something like that. We run games or things like that, or just in general, trying to have them be a little higher quality items. And we do now have, I'll just remind us that we do now have some items now in our cash, right? From late last year, we spent down on that. So, but any ideas for that, certainly, throw them out. If there's other things.
Yeah, maybe instead of things, we can do consumables again, like, screen printed cookies at the grand openings of the parks. That's always feels a little bit better than more
Yeah.
plastic in the world.
Exactly. I agree.
So we can price those things out.
Great. Anything else? I'll throw out that I might like to see us, use it to maybe sponsor some events or things like that, especially with the new downtown space coming online. I think there's some opportunities there for things we could sponsor. So we'll think about that. Obviously we don't have to figure out right away, but I think we might want to set aside a little bit of money for that. And then obviously the conference, if we feel like that's valuable.
Maybe use some of the funding to partner with other advisory boards might be kind of cool, just to do some of the events that we do, maybe find something that we can combine funding to do something kind of cool at the booth, just something to think about.
That's a good idea. Okay, anything else on that one? All right, sounds good. And move right along. Item 3C. So introduce the amenities and services prioritization list. I think mostly everyone here is familiar with that. Just a quick refresher is this is the thing we do every year where we list out things that we would like to see the town focus on for Parks and Rec.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You want to share that? Okay.
Yeah, am I presenter?
I made you a code.
Yeah, great. Sounds good. So Zoom, I'll have stopped using Zoom, so. Great. So I have not gone through yet to revamp this for this year. So this is last year's. But this is just to remind everybody, it's kind of how it's formatted, is that we have the list of items over here of things that we think that we would like the town to focus on, put funds toward. I think especially this year with the bond measure that passed, certainly we shouldn't get, I want to manage expectations, like that money already is going lots of different directions, right? And we shouldn't get, crazy with it, but I think there might be some opportunities to sort of have this list help us direct some of those funds. We're certainly going to talk about that, I think, on the next agenda item. But I would like it if everyone, I think after this meeting, I will go through and clean this out, make it ready for us to put in new items, and then I'll just email it out, ask everyone to just go through, add items that you personally care about, if they're not already on the list. Once we do that, then we can go through and rank. So maybe we'll do that after the next meeting. Typically, we try to have this done by March or April. So, and does that align with sort of if we're? This is a question for you, not trustee, Councilman Miller. It's going to take me a second.
It's taking me.
Yes. Is that? Does that align with sort of the timeline, sort of for the town?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we're still, I think we're digging into it more during the next work session.
Okay.
Obviously the pools are a huge priority. 'Cause
Yes. That's good. I promise that will float right to the top of our list.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Did float, really?
I thought somebody would pick up on that. I'm glad it was another dad. Okay, so I will let everyone know on that, but for now, nothing to do. Just be looking for an email from me. So you might have any questions or concerns about how we do this, anything we want to do differently this year?
It's a beautiful spreadsheet.
Thank you. I really try.
No, it's literally perfect.
The other thing to keep in mind, too with this is as you go through it, I mean, that $5,000 discretionary money could potentially be used to, if there's any items on here, I think about that one, Justin, you mentioned that box that's at Founder's Park, right? Kids can come and use different supplies and whatnot. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I think part of it could be just me being educated on what it is, what it's for, and who has access to it. Maybe that's my fault. But then I could spread the word to say, if you need a basketball, then you have to call this number or whatever, but
Yeah.
accessibility is what I was thinking.
Yeah, so yeah, ideas like that, I mean, if it plays out through this process, the $5,000.
Nice.
That makes sense.
I know with the scoring we did last year, there were a lot of like closer numbers.
Yeah.
One of the other ways I've seen scoring go is like the 1-3-9 scale. Because it really weights the things that people are doing heavily, so I don't know if we would consider doing that, so it really, the things that stand out the most are clear winners versus we're kind of hedging,
Yeah,
0.1 or 0.2 to focus the efforts.
sure. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit and see, like, I'll just, plug in some numbers and see what that does to it. But that could help us maybe break some of these ties and, be a little more definitive, because as a reminder, we do this realistically, like, what are we gonna get? It's probably top 2, top 3, top 4, right? So let's all be realistic about that. And maybe like, it's good to have ideas, and maybe some of those smaller ideas can be something we do with our smaller amount of funds if there's something that fits within that. But the bigger ideas, we're gonna have to pick a few to push forward. So.
Can we exclude or shade special, because I've seen this sheet many times, but I wasn't engaged in creating it like you all have. But is there some special shading or anything like that as far as, okay, the council already knows about that, it's on our, high on our radar, you don't have to, mention this again, is there?
Yeah, so there's a few items on here that I may just make. I think last year we had a little thing at the bottom that was like stuff it's not there, but I might have taken it out, but stuff we'd already done, right? It's like, hey, don't add this to the list again because we already did this. An example would be like, I don't think this actually got, the bathroom, I don't know if that actually got done, so maybe we'll leave that one in. But things like that, right? Where it's like, we already know about that.
That's happening, all right? The bathroom at Myers Park.
Bought it?
I don't think, Leslie, feel free to chime in, I don't think that made the cut for the 2025 budget.
Okay, so we can
It can stay in there.
keep that one in. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you're correct on that, Brian. We had discussed the cost of a permanent bathroom and then also the portable type of solution. And that's still on the table for discussion.
Okay, we'll leave it in there. But yes, there will be some things that I think, probably could be taken off the list here because we've already decided not to do them more. We've decided to do them, but I'll try to take care of that. Okay. Anything else on that item before we move on? Oh, all right. So we can run along then. 3D review process for PARC feedback on bond measure projects. So I think Leslie and Brian, I think you were going to talk to us a little bit about how to approach that, how we should approach that, what sort of input you're looking for from the committee.
Yeah, 1 second here. Yeah, so since the last meeting in November, there was a board work session and there was some, or sorry, town council work session. In the early December, where there was some discussion about the, post bond measure passing. And then, council member, Miller can, discuss some of that, conversation if need be. But, since then, staff has worked on, we actually just recently on January 6th put out an RFQ, request for qualifications for, design and renovation of North Pool. It's posted on the town website. If you do want to read through it, from the town homepage, there's a RFP bids and whatnot link that you can go to, but, we do have this out. The submittal deadline is January 28th. As you can see here, retaining the services of a design consultant or team, experience in planning and design of outdoor pools, public pool facilities. So the main thing with this, like I said, it's out till January 28th. And if you take a look here at the proposed project schedule, and kind of working through there, you can, we have the RFQ statement of qualifications due on the 28th, like I said. And then the plan is, we'll send out a RFP to with the scope of work to that short list of folks that, firms that responded to this.
I would note that February 20th date is literally the day after our February meeting.
Oh, is it on the 20th? Okay. Then we'll do some interviews, select the consultant, and then kind of the fun stuff starts after that. So once we have a design firm, and then, the public engagement, and Leslie and I were chatting, and I'm sure she's chatted with town manager as well, with PARC, potentially hosting a public engagement session here, probably in Long Peak Room in the back, probably like the April-May timeframe, at the April or May meeting, doing that similar to what you guys did for, probably very similar to the feedback that was collected for the Big and Little Sagamore and Children's Parks. That was obviously at Town Hall. So obviously that's a little ways yet. In the meantime, and Leslie can expand on this a little bit, some other stuff in addition to the pools, but regarding the pools, I mean, I know it gets dark early, but a tour of North Pool, obviously you did, you guys have done the pre-meeting walks at the parks throughout the year, but if it makes sense, I think it does make sense for this group to go up to North Pool. Obviously it's all winterized now, but just to have a visual, of the current conditions. I mean, we can go through the pump room, through the building, take a look around the pool grounds and whatnot, so you guys have an idea how things look before the public engagement starts. Another option, in between now and a public engagement session is, kind of assisting with, a survey that we can put out to the community on Shape Superior. So this group could definitely help with that. But obviously, yeah, like you guys know, North Pool is the main priority. The council, wants South Pool to be on the radar as well. Obviously we have the roads, road projects in town. Potentially, some other projects down the road, but the pools are obviously the main priority, short term. So yeah, Leslie, I don't know if you have anything to add to that at all.
You did a great job summarizing that. And yes, I think with the passing of the sales tax bond measure, some of the specific information that was included in the language of that ballot measure was for pools and roads. So those are definitely items that have kind of been on the list of needs for several years, and will end up being the priorities once we kind of get a further information on the cost of those projects. The town council will help whittle that down, the priorities. And I think definitely the pools and the roads are going to be the first items that we put on the list. you know, there are subsequent items on there if we have money left over. And that's always difficult with a $20 million bomb project. You think that's a lot of money, but it goes very quickly. And the actual dollar amount that we have to spend is dependent on current interest rates. So it's not like a guaranteed 20 million. So I don't want to get too far into the finances, but that's kind of the reality of what we're looking at. And, you know, when we get into the details of this project, specifically the pools, having input from PARC and the community in general, the pool users, the user groups, hosting, I think, more of a open house type of public engagement session, similar to what we did with the community center. Folks were around for that. You know, the design consultant had different stations where people went around and provided input on specific things. So, I mean, coming up with how we organize that, you know, would be great feedback to have from the park committee. And I think once you walk through the pool and look at the, you know, the amenities that we have there and then maybe what we might want to improve, I think that'll help us organize those public engagement sessions a little bit better.
Sounds good.
One thing I'll mention that, trustee or Councilmember Howish, had suggested to the board that we all thought was a great idea is engaging the youth. And so I don't know if that's through Silk or you reach out through schools or have them engage with those public information sessions, but because they're such heavy users of the pool, maybe reaching out to them and getting their buy-in on, you know, what are some things that you would like to see as far as amenities, and then obviously dialing in what's realistic, but, you know, having them be part of that process.
Okay.
To the swim teams. Yeah, swim teams.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, even just youth using the pool on like a weekend.
Flyers.
Do we have, I'm sure, yeah, like the coaches for the flyers and all that stuff are gonna say like, we want this for the locker rooms and what this is really, okay. Yeah.
Well, sorry, was that a question?
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, we've already been in discussions throughout the past year, even last summer, chatting with the Flyers. You know, we kind of have an idea of their interests, and it's actually not that big. They really like North Pole. I mean, obviously they have, you know, some wishes or whatnot, but a lot of people think North Pole location is, at least for their needs, for a competition pool, it's one of the most desirable pools for, you know, those groups that compete in the area. So, but yeah, they have some needs. We started that conversation. In addition to them, you know, there's some other groups that would probably have some interest, you know, kind of in the off-season months. You know, let's say the pool, North Pole is gonna be open, whether throughout the fall, spring, or even year round after we do the renovation. You know, whether it's the Flyers or Elevation Athletics swim team, they actually run our swim program, Monarch swim team. I mean, I think there's a need for those groups potentially renting out North Pole. You know, obviously there'd be open to the public component as well, I imagine, but those groups, I think, the feedback we get is, you do this, we will definitely want to use your pool in the winter, we'll pay you to use your pool.
So that is on the table, then it's having.
Well, yeah, so I backtrack a little bit, like that will probably come up from them, those groups that they attend, you know, we'll have them attend public engagement. There is interest there. If you think about kind of imagining, just being open extended months, the shorter months, and then winterizing a pool in late November, only to turn around and de-winterize it, you know, a couple months later, 3 months later. So I don't know, that, I'm sure that'll all play itself out, but those groups will use the pool if it's, you know, pretty cold outside.
That's the, I mean, seems like you don't even need a bubble if you had like a heated decking. You have 3+ season pool, or, you know, it's only the 30 minus degree days, but 40 degree plus, you can probably still be pretty cool.
It's heated.
Swimming in that.
Yeah,
Bubble would probably be cheaper than heating in the water. Yeah, in the winter time.
Yeah, I mean, you're just losing it all out.
Yes.
Okay, so I heard, so in terms of,
So bubble be cheaper, just keep it heated.
yeah, in terms of stakeholder groups, so just youth in general, right? I think, both younger and, maybe more teenage, right? Swim teams, general public, right? General town public. Is there another major stakeholder group that I'm missing there? It sounds like those are kind of the major ones.
I mean, maybe like the board, like the council.
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I just had a question on on since this topic. I know the RFP is not been developed yet, but this comes first, the RFQ. But are they thinking that of a complete replacement with the limited potential budget or a renovation?
I mean, yeah, Leslie, you can add, I mean, I think, given the funds that are available, I don't think it's necessarily gonna be a demolition of the pool building and start all over. I think
Okay.
it's, there'll be some significant upgrades amenity wise, and whether the existing, I mean, personally, and having been with the town for many years, I mean, I think that whole building, that shell is, it needs some major work, especially if you're gonna, the HVAC system and whatnot. But, I don't know, Leslie, do you want to add to that? I mean, it's not right, like I know there were those concept designs presented a few months ago to get an idea of the financials, and kind of what was settled on after that.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna involve the real cost benefit analysis. If there are components that are still in good shape that serve future needs, we don't wanna tear them out just to tear them out. If we can limit the number of things that we have to renovate, then that provides more funding for the things that we really do wanna do, like insulate the building and make it so it can be utilized year round. Those kind of things, along with, the specific needs for storage or guard space and updating our restrooms and locker rooms and showers. Those kind of things are the kind of what we've been hearing. And I'm sure there'll be opportunity for some more, play features or other amenities that make the space a little bit more attractive. But if there's something that we can salvage, then that will let us, that dollar can stretch further. So those will be the things we'll look at.
Was there, at one point there was talk about like expanding the footprint, and is that still something that's on the table?
I think anything's on the table at this point. But after discussion with our user groups, the feedback we've gotten so far is that the size of the pool isn't necessarily an issue. The number of lanes seems to be satisfactory. There might be some design features. The baby pool is very outdated. People really don't provide baby pools like that anymore. But maybe looking at zero depth or splash pads or some components like that. But really we might increase the deck space, but I don't see the competition pool expanding a whole lot unless we get different feedback back than we've gotten so far.
Yeah, one of the things that often goes with swim is dive. And I don't know where there's a pool that has like diving boards, and that's an amenity for kids and things too. So that could be like an additional section. It won't have to change what's there with the main pool, because as a Flyers parent and master swimmer, like that pool serves its purpose with the lanes, and it's one of the best ones when we go to the meets and stuff. So to make it better and modernize it and keep the literal sinking pools from forming, right? Like we can repurpose a lot, but they've made them deeper. They do different things with the depth, to make it more fun for the kids to play when it's not up for use. So just, I think for us to consider, when we ask for the amenities, like we're trying to cast that wide net and then pare down to make sure we understand how far we can actually go physically, because that would constrain some of the recommendations and what we ask for people for feedback.
That was always my big thing, was the first thing was deep end.
what's the legal landscape? Like, I know in the late eighties and nineties, they pulled out diving boards because people were so happy. Are people over that now? And like diving boards are no longer.
Oh, there's
Huge
still diving
liability.
boards, yeah, I mean, I think you need minimum 12 feet depth, yeah.
But we should like insurance rates so that if we could put diving in, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I can't really speak to that, but I mean, they are still around, I mean, we've toured some pools and there still are diving boards, yeah.
That'd be super fun.
Yeah.
Dive teams,
What's that?
dive teams.
Dive teams, yeah. Yep.
Okay,
That's cool.
all right, so I think we've got a sort of a sense of what we can do to help. I just want to walk back through it to make sure, and then maybe we can talk about who wants to help what. So it sounds like the first thing is we should do a walk through North Pole. Is that something you think we could do before the next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, you're right, like, just I wanna beat the dark, you know, beat the, right? Or
Yeah,
not.
I don't know how early folks can go, I guess is the question.
But yeah, I mean, like,
It's not until April 1st until, I think until design process starts, so.
It's just a question whether we want to do it any sooner or
Yeah.
not, just to have, to get
Good
ahead of it.
idea.
Yeah. And if you want to be part of it.
It's okay.
I mean, one,
I'm
yeah,
moving in March, that's what we're talking about, so, no, I don't care either way.
Okay.
If it's, don't look at the pool at the dark, don't do that.
and the one option would, oh, go ahead.
I was looking at the time, if we wait till March, sunset's not till after 7.
Yeah,
So
so that would be,
February, it's still before or 6.
Okay.
So if we schedule that in March, then
yeah, if you think we can wait till then, I'm fine with that.
I think there's some pretty hefty spring break stuff going on around.
That's the only thing I was a little bit concerned about. When
Well,
is,
the 20th, I don't think people are,
as I say, when's BBSD spring break?
it's the week after that.
Okay, so people will be around probably. So you want to know for sure they will be around in March? It will be the stand-up
20th,
19th.
19th.
Not sure.
No,
I'm here.
that's fair.
Probably, we leave on Saturday.
I'm not sure if I'll be here, so I'll just say that right now. But yeah. Okay,
We can also schedule it separately if that
Yeah.
proves to be a problem, right?
yes, we can also revisit in February. And if we do need to schedule it at a different time, we can figure out a time portion.
You guys can do it in April, it's not like any design process will be kind of starting at that point, if it does, it's awesome, but.
Okay, so let's revisit in February. We'll figure out a time to do it. So in terms of assisting with the survey, I guess Brian, Leslie, I would look to you guys to tell us what input you would like from us. Let me know, and then I can see, is there anyone has a particular yearning to assist with survey development?
I mean, it could be something where, well, I don't know, Leslie, right, like realistically, maybe by the February park meeting, we have drafted up maybe some potential survey questions and bring it to this group. I don't know how that works.
I think that's a good suggestion, a good start. We can work with our communications team just on, what is the best survey format? How many, questions do you put in there? How many are yes, no, or ABC, and how many are open-ended? They can give us some of those guidelines that help a survey to be more successful. And then we can bring some ideas back to this group for questions.
Okay, I'll say I'm happy to help out with that as well, just individually. So if you guys want to poke me for anything, happy to help with that.
Thank you.
And then when do we think we might be wanting to target doing this in-person feedback session? So that's a cool idea.
April or May park meeting, probably May, right, Leslie?
I think May is a safe date. April's pretty tight for the consultant to get ready for a public engagement. So,
Okay.
Maybe we can really flush it out at the April meeting, how we want to, format that. What, is it going to be 7 to 9, just like your park meeting, or do we, make it longer so that, folks
Yeah.
with young kids might be able to come? Just, we can go through those kind of details and plan on, sacrificing your May meeting as a public engagement, if that works.
I mean, this seems like one of the more important things we're gonna do this year, so I think it's fine with me. Yeah.
Is the work on, Rock Creek Parkway from, Indiana down to the circle, was that coming out of the bond or was that previously? Cause that's gonna be another $3 million or something.
It was expedited with the bond, so when we looked at the financing for it, we were gonna have to push it out a little longer, and so we're getting it done sooner, so that's.
But it is coming out of the bond, so we're down to 16 million or so. All right.
But then that frees up the money down the road,
Road.
right? So it's not like it goes away, it just shifts.
Which.
We decide the rights more important.
Sick.
We all drive cars, so, okay. All right, this sounds good. I think we have sort of a tentative plan. Sounds like a lot of revisiting in February, March. Anything else anybody wants to talk about on this particular topic? We've been very pool centric. Is there any other sort of like small buckets of things we should be thinking about?
I mean, this is the big one, in the short term, you know, maybe when the town council discusses, maybe other projects might get flushed out during that process, but right now, this is the one where we'll be focusing on.
And I think we talked about this before. I just want to like sort of bring it back up again to make sure that we're all on the same page. So can we still offer ideas? I know they may not necessarily get funded, but I mean, through our amenities prioritization process, I think that's an opportunity for us to say like, hey, if you've got an extra 100K, you know, out of this money, you know, it's not realistic, but if it was, like, can we use it for this?
And
And
I would suggest that you don't have to be too shy. I mean, the council will say what their priorities are and they'll figure out when we have used up all the bond money. But if your next big project is whatever it is, I would put it out there as your, you know, as a runner-up, just let them know what that next project is. The smaller stuff is easier for us to address in the regular CIP program. And that's okay to express as well. And I think, you know, as you guys go through your priority list, that information will be very helpful for future capital budgets. But, you know, if we're able to address North Pool and South Pool, what's your next thing?
Yeah, okay. What's that?
Community park playground.
Community park playground is high on our list, I think.
Yeah,
but-
that's the next
Yeah.
big one on the council's list is, we know that's very dated.
Yes.
Wood chips and everything else,
For
so
sure.
that's up there.
Okay.
But like Leslie said, I mean, we want to hear if there's other things, because if there is money, we want to do it, and if not, we want to make sure that's on our radar for, you know, as money's freed up because of the bond financing, we want to make sure that we can kind of push stuff up that
Yes.
we might not have on the radar.
Okay, sounds good. All right, anything else on this topic before we move on? Topic being the uses of bond measure funds and all that. Okay. Sounds good. All right. So 3E, identify major maintenance issues at parks to help prioritize maintenance. So this came up just because I think a couple of the members had most of issues that they saw as just sort of ongoing maintenance issues at some of the parks, maybe that, you know, weren't getting addressed as quickly as we would hope, or just were things that, even if it wasn't necessarily a time issue, was just something that was a bigger problem that we would like to see get addressed. So I did throw this on the discussion list just as something maybe for us to think about how we'd like to approach this. Obviously, there's already this sort of publicly available like see quick fix and stuff like that, but is there some other thing the committee might want to do here that we don't currently do to help prioritize maintenance?
Like the bike terrain park is pretty bad. Is that such a great Eagle Scout project? I mean, do we have like Eagle Scouts we can tap into to? help?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, yeah, things like that. I mean, Michaela Gregg is constantly looking for feedback on various volunteer projects, as there's all sorts of groups that approach us for ideas and whatnot. So yeah, things like that would be an idea. And then really depending on kind of on this topic, depending on the scale of whatever gets brought up, like let's say in this format, I mean, a lot of times it is more efficient for you guys just to come to this meeting, bring it to staff, and then we can, our park superintendent and his crew can together funds, for some of the, I guess, smaller maintenance needs, stuff that you guys identified, but,
Maybe during our park walks, maybe we can do some click and fix as we're going through them.
Okay.
I mean, that would be,
What about resurfacing the basketball court here by Community Park? Is that's not click and fix, that'd be something in between, like a big capital.
So
Click and fix, right?
to take this specific example, make it general, like, is there, things like that, right? I don't know if that is a click and fix or if that's a.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a lease situation.
Right,
that might get denied on click and fix. I mean, that's a big one, I don't know if that, I think it's about the amenities and prioritization document,
Okay,
that potentially fitting into that, that's a little bit larger scale one,
okay,
I guess it depends on the extent of, the condition of it, but.
okay. So I think I can't speak for others. I would personally start to have a little bit of trouble then telling which thing goes in which bucket. So I wonder if it's just good for us to bring it in the meeting to you guys and you tell us which bucket it goes in.
I mean, if this is something that the group wants to, have a voice in, which is fine. It is under Parks purview. I think it does make most sense to just bring it to the monthly meeting and
Okay.
can work.
So if there's a set of things that go through See Click Fix that are deemed out of scope, like we could get that report and then understand what other people are asking for, and that's where we could maybe weigh in for things that aren't gonna go through the normal channel.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, See Click Fix, I guess, in a way is, any of you guys can still do that, obviously. It's kind of more in your non-park role capacity, just as a resident, but, so yeah, I don't know.
Just the way that you said it, maybe I misunderstood, was like we could get an output from that system of things that we have said are out of scope for routine maintenance. And then put that up against or into our list to understand what other things are there that we might not be thinking of. So I feel like that's a good source of community input, if we can use it that way.
Yeah.
And then we're not trying to get and do maintenance's job, or I think we saw Leslie's email response, like some things just take a long time. And I would say, like, if it's in See Click Fix and it's gonna get handled, we trust that's getting handled. And if it's not gonna get handled, then we decide, is it something that we would push for with the funding or the prioritization that we have.
Are there signs, I haven't been to the parks in a while, but are there signs that have the QR code for the thing? For the See Click Fix? No? Put a QR code, cause then people, if you're there and you're like, oh, there's something that needs to be fixed, oh, click that, done.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think one of the other things, like there's the bike repair station that's down there and that's ravaged.
Well, you
But
can
it might
also,
be fixed by now, because I think I put it.
well, and you could also put them at places like that where, bikers are going and maybe, they save it on their phone and they're out on the trails and they see something that needs to be fixed and they're like, wait, I know what to do, type of deal, if that makes sense.
But was it, so like there's low capital maintenance costs, they put a new bike repair station, all the way to like, I keep thinking like that Founders Park softball field, which is turned into, it's not so super, that'd be like a big
That's,
one.
That's a budget out, has to be allocated, like kind of thing. So it's,
Yeah.
So I think I see our role as, certainly helping prioritize and then also maybe helping bring issues that we feel like are, maybe like somewhere in that middle bucket of like, this is not, a capital project, but it's definitely like beyond maybe just the regular See Click Fix kind of thing. Okay, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, one of the other things I think about is like, if we, like for the resurfacing of the basketball court, because it's basically like playing basketball on like a driveway. But if we resurfaced it, maybe we could also put walls up and it could be like a inline skating, like mini hockey rink.
And so we're drifting out of maintenance though, so then we have to start talking about, this is more like a goes on the amenities list, right? So, but I think that's like a good way to maybe generate ideas as well. Okay, so maybe if we, I won't impose on you guys too much, but if you can, if there's a way for us to get a list of things that are like, these are things that came through Sequent Fix and we're not doing them because they're sort of just too big. That is something that maybe we can sort of take a look at and be like, yeah, we want to push more for this one specifically, or this one specifically. And then in meanwhile, just ask everyone to continue, you know, keeping their eyes out for things that they want to bring sort of to town staff. And then the third is the sign idea. I wonder if that's something we can just sponsor with our money. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how much the signs cost
Yeah,
for QR codes.
QR codes work, people, okay? They're great. No, you just put it in their yard sign and it probably won't fly away. I can't say that for sure.
Because how nice of a sign, right? You know, that's what we're doing.
It's a brass QR codes.
Yeah. It has to be big enough to be visible, but
Exactly,
Yeah.
but no, we could put them on cause there's bulletin boards at all the parks too, and you can just put them in the
So
case thing.
we can't just like stick, you know, we can do that,
Stickers.
right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
oh, sticker, see, that's not gonna fly away. No, but I think having something, cause if people are seeing a problem, maybe it's because it's not coming in as much. Like, if there's obviously a repeat of things, it's
Yeah.
going to get fixed first, rather than something that is put in once or twice, it's not gonna get fixed.
Even something that just makes it easier to do the reporting, because I mean, I've
Yeah.
been, like, for instance, I've been at the community park bathroom has been like stopped, like
Yeah,
Makes sense. over and
Yeah.
over and over and over again. Like if I just had a QR code to hit real quick,
Exactly.
like I could do that
and
quickly.
just to let somebody know, is
Yeah.
that's the other thing, is like.
Yeah.
It could be also like, hey, this is deteriorating, it's not like bad now, but it will be eventually, is
Yeah.
another reason why we have the. Not
Okay.
fix thing, I don't know.
Would we want to run that through the town, just like if we kind of like some sort of little flyer, like do we need to show that to?
Oh, the QR code idea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, Park kind of thinking it through and coming up with the idea and how that, you know, can do some of the legwork and then,
Okay.
you know, we take it from there, so.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm probably, once it's kind of flushed out, I'll run it by our park superintendent and, you know, he's the one that gets most of the C-click fixes, you know.
yeah, yeah,
I don't see an issue with it.
yeah,
But
okay. Do you want to?
Mhm.
Cover that? Oh, sounds
One
good.
thing I would just suggest when it comes to QR codes is I would do something that's like a sign or permanent rather than stickers, because you know, finance, what we're starting to see is like scammers making QR stickers.
Oh, like
Like,
sticking it over things.
menus and signage, and then when people scan them, it hijacks your phone and.
No stickers.
That's
That's fine, I could
Needs to be something a little more durable.
Got it.
Looks like it's part of the sign. Okay, okay. Sounds good. We'll work on it, and then maybe propose something next time.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's check it out real quick. Okay. Sounds good. Anything else on the topic before we move on? Okay. That's good. All right, identify needed working groups for 2025 and whether there are particular interests and needs. So I'll be honest, I don't have anything ready to go on this one. If there are interests where we want to start forming any kind of subcommittees or things like that, I'd love to hear it. If we're just not ready to talk about it yet, we can talk about it next time. So you might have anything. I know one thing we usually do is we try to have a liaison with like Silk of some kind, talk to them about stuff. I think that's been you.
It's been me, and I went once, let me be fair, I did go once, and they didn't have a lot of
Input.
thoughts. Which is fair, I mean, we can go once a year to be like, hey, do you guys have anything for us?
Mhm.
We can do, you guys can do that, it's just.
Yeah.
I don't,
We.
it's not me, it can't be me, I'm leaving, so.
Well, so actually, let's start there because I think that's, we are obviously all sad to be losing you. We are happy that you're getting your own place.
Yeah, we'll have to do the Marshall Fire as well.
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask is, because that's gonna be ongoing.
I didn't go to the last meeting and I feel like I missed a lot, so.
Okay,
There's gonna be a meeting on February and that's, the February meeting, I'll have an update, but.
so I think ideally we start identifying somebody who's interested in taking that on, in your absence.
It's going in a fun direction.
Yeah.
So,
Sell it.
It's going in a really fun direction, I swear. Yeah, the Marshall Fire Memorial, again, missed the last meeting, so I feel like I have a chunk of information that I just don't have. So, yeah, no, but it's fun, cause it's a bunch of, like, it's CAPS, it's, OSAC, it's like everybody, and so we're all trying to figure out what to do but apparently they're presenting to the town council, and I don't know what they're presenting, so, again, that's a February 3rd conference after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who's interested in picking that up once Grace is?
They meet sporadically, I wouldn't even say once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be happy to step into that.
Okay.
stuff To help.
Thanks, Adina.
I would love to help you. Of
Yeah,
course,
thank you for
and I
jumping
can meet with you to kind of absorb your brain and what you've been working on before.
Yeah, I've been a little confused, so I'm hoping, hopefully we'll have a meeting on February 3rd, and then after that, for sure. Cool.
Okay, no worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, thank you.
All right, does anyone else have any thoughts about any kind of subcommittees that we might need? Usually we kind of do it on an as needed basis, but I don't know if there's anything that somebody else just has a burning passion for. They'd like to
Is
form
the
a subcommittee.
gonna continue? I know, it's like.
I think it's,
Was it not already
I
rolled?
thought it kind of wrapped up and rolled out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as far as I know,
Check it.
we should, but I thought it kind of had wrapped up.
Yeah.
There were two things that sounds like a lot of people had interest in, like maybe last year or the year before, which was like food truck days and farmers markets.
Mm.
The farmers markets sounds to me are super episodic right now. It's like maybe there'll be a spring one and a fall one, but
Not regularly, like Louisville.
And same with food trucks. So I think
Yeah, Fort Collins is all through the whole summer, they do one every Tuesday. And I feel like it's very chaotic. Like, it's just.
Louisville has one like every Saturday.
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I mean, theirs is really good. It's like voted like the best one in the state or something like that, but. And I mean, there's also something to say for like, should we be competing against that versus doing something cool that's more unique to us?
I think Michaela had a really cool idea, which is trying to get one, the farmer's market has a slightly different bent to it. So like cheeses and wines and high quality stuff. It wasn't so much like eggs and produce, and I think it's still really interesting. Maybe the logistics of trying to find vendors might have been the pitch. But I mean, and it's same with the food truck days. I think people were wanting to have some regular food trucks and having more regularity to it.
Yeah, I mean, when I lived in Boston, there was a food truck Saturday morning, right? It was always in the same spot every time, and it'd just be 10, 12 food trucks would pull into a parking lot and everyone would go, right, for breakfast, lunch. So yeah, I think that is cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like in Alameda, it's just finding the spot. I used to live in Alameda. They had the same exact thing. They have like a live band, bunch of food trucks. It's always packed on Saturdays. So I think it would be popular. I think it's just a matter of whether there's someone else to the subcommittee.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I'd be potentially interested in if you want to work on it. Is anybody else interested in working on that?
You're on tag team?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, no. You, okay. Yeah, but that's something I think we want to help, certainly help town staff try to organize if we actually want to do it. So, anything else along those lines people are interested in? Okay, we can revisit and think about it and also form them as needed. All right, anything else before I move on from 3F? Oh, okay. All right, 3G, leadership election. So every year we need to elect a chair and vice chair. I'm your current chair. Brent is your current vice chair. Does anybody want to make any kind of nominations or anything like that?
I'll nominate Robert to continue as chair.
Cool. Thanks.
Everybody mutually second at the same
I
time.
like me. Do we have to take, I think we actually have to make an official motion, so we do actually have to. All right, so I'm in the position of taking the vote on my own chairmanship. Brent, do you vote yes to the motion? Sorry, the motion is to give me as chair.
Motion to reappoint, re-elect, whatever.
Right, yeah.
Robert in his role as chair of PARC committee.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we'll vote on that. Brent?
Yep.
Tim?
Yep.
Grace?
Yes.
Burton?
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Martha? Sadia?
Yes.
Lindsay?
Yes.
All right, motion pass, obviously I vote yes for myself. Motion passes.
I would have loved it if you would have said no.
I know. You're all voted.
Sorry.
Yeah, okay, and then, vice chair, is anybody wants to make a motion about, vice chair?
If it ain't broke, you fix it.
Go ahead.
If you want to keep being vice chair.
I'm nominated for vice.
So, well, does he want to do it?
Second.
I'm good to continue.
Okay.
And I will do a better job, so I'm gonna put myself out there. I was late on the agenda, and my word crashed, and these two gentlemen over here did the job that I'm
It's
supposed to have,
Don't
so,
worry about it.
you know.
You're gonna have to step in and run meetings for me periodically, it's gonna happen.
Don't give me that kind of power.
Get drunk on it. Okay, so,
Once.
okay, so the motion is to, elect Brent or re-elect Brent as vice chair. So we'll take a vote. Brent?
Yay.
Yay. Tim? Grace? Burton? Justin?
Yes.
Martha? I think I gotta do this. Chair votes yes. Sadia?
Yes.
Getting there. Lindsay?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Congratulations. So,
You get a hat.
yeah, everybody gets a hat.
You get it. Oh, that's coming.
They're here.
They're here.
We have them.
Seriously, I like feel like I'm always, where's the trailer? Where's the hat? Where's the thing?
Get them after the meeting. Maybe. I don't know.
If you help clean up, you may get one piece of equipment that we purchased for everything you help clean up.
Yeah, there you go. It's just like my son, got a problem. Okay, and then before we move off of this one, I also want to ask, because it's kind of in a similar category. So right now we have the note-taking rotation. Sort of where I've just made a list and randomized it and then making somebody do it each time. Do we feel like that's working okay? Would we rather have somebody be permanently appointed to do notes? And if so, does anybody want to do that?
I like the rotation.
If I don't hear anybody say, I'd really like to do notes, then they're really gonna have to do the rotation. I know it'd be easier if we didn't, but.
I mean, it's easier, but as long as everyone understands to use the template.
Yeah.
And, which I send out when I send out the agenda, so just work from that. And then just getting it to me in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, so
we're
just-
all good.
Just to be clear, the expectation is that you use the word template, which is basically the agenda that you type into, and that we need to then get that to Brian in a timely fashion, I think within a day or two after.
I mean, the summary points, which are, again, like 4 to 5 sentences, the big items for the meeting, those should come, no later than the following day. The notes, if you need to clean them up and need like a week or two, that's fine.
Yeah.
So.
Very
I think I have to do them 3 times.
You're on the list. Don't worry. Okay, so we'll continue doing it that way. If anyone ever decides they would love to just be the notes person, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll do the rotation.
I'm also about the notes, just so anytime that the group votes or there's a motion made of the motion, obviously the actual motion, who made the motion, who seconded it, and then the vote count, the committee member and how they voted needs to be captured in the notes, so.
Yeah, so Justin,
Just to be clear.
definitely want that for the night, for the
Yeah.
chair, vice chair.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Brent,
Easy enough.
motion,
Brent motion for me, and then Tim motion for Brent.
I'm sorry, who motion?
Tim voted motion for Brent.
And then, but then you said second as well, right?
You seconded it for me.
Yeah, I seconded it for you.
And then,
Tim second.
Let's just say you.
I think,
Yeah.
That's fine.
I think everyone kind of, and then, I think everyone seconded.
Clearly, we're moving too fast.
Yes. Okay, great. Sounds good. Anything else on this topic before I move on? Okay. For new business and updates, for other updates, should just be updates from town staff and or our town council liaison. Town staff, let's go first.
Yeah, no huge updates. no big ones. I mean, I guess the civic space, I wish those would have stayed on, but, interior construction is continuing. I think we're now kind of planning for a potential May, I say grand opening, having it done by May. And we're starting to put together our summer recreation guide, and we're, accepting program proposals to, do some light programming over there beginning in June. So we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, once it'd be great to bring this group over there to do another tour, before we open too, so we'll keep that on the radar.
Okay.
And then, like we mentioned, the hats and the long sleeve shirts. I have those, they're actually in the back storage room next to Long Speak. So after this, if you guys, since we're probably finishing up a little early, if you guys want, we can head back there. It's probably easiest, and then grab swag.
Cool. Sounds good.
What's the scoop with the bridge? I like one.
It's the bridge. I think our town council is going to tell us
It
about that.
got approved, because the trail through Grasso Park, it was narrowed from 10 feet down to 8 feet to give a little bit of buffer between historic buildings. And then there's discussions about possibly putting up some fencing to protect against some bikers coming together, a little too fast in a hidden building. But there'll be signage, it sounds like, that'll offer some insights into the historic buildings.
Yeah.
Possibly some QR codes.
Cool.
QR codes.
I think it's great.
Very random question. Did the archaeological consultant find anything? This was I remember.
No, but something very important is as they're doing the construction, there will be somebody on site that's, I don't know if it's a certification but like an archaeological liaison to make sure that everything's handled appropriately, that if there is anything found that is appropriately, and then staff will be down there quite a bit to monitor things, make sure it's all protected and stuff. And they'll have fencing up to, during the construction to kind of.
I think it's great because I was here for several years before I even knew those buildings were there. And I feel like it'll make it a little more clear. Actually,
I think it's actually great, because it's such an underutilized park. I mean, they tried, my first year here, they tried to activate it with a photo contest of winter. I think we were the only, there was 5 families that did photos.
Maybe the first time I went down there was the Grasso Park lights, actually.
The lights,
Yeah.
the lights are fun.
Yeah, the lights are cool. Okay, any other updates?
That's really about it, I think.
Okay, great. All right, then 4B, summary points of meeting. We're on.
Let's see, we briefly talked about the work plan for 2025, going to Dropbox soon, park discretionary budget, 5K used for swag, conference and sponsoring events, amenities and services priority list, 2025 list to be worked on and shared by Brian. Bond measure mentioned, North Pool and, pools in general and the roads being the top priority per Leslie. And we're going to be seeking feedback, community feedback in various forms to include Brian assisting with spearheading a survey creation with partnership with the Parks Group and others, identifying maintenance issues at parks, work groups and subcommittees. And we had an election for leadership, unanimous for Robert as chair and unanimous for Brent as vice chair. And that concludes my summary.
Okay. All right, well, if there's nothing else then, at 8:03 PM, we'll consider ourselves adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. That might be.